Good morning, Rocketeers. It's so great to be with you back doing our read aloud this week. Now we have one more week together of nonfiction, and then we have a really special surprise for you on Friday about what learning looks like next week. But this week we're going to continue looking at nonfiction news articles. Now, we're continuing to do that because we want more practice with that nonfiction, finding that main idea, really seeking out those details, wondering about the point of view of our author, and overall learning more information about what's happening in our world. And another reason is to stay informed. We want you to, part of being a Rocketeer is all of those core values, but also is to stay informed. Part of being a good citizen is we have a responsibility to stay informed with what's happening in our world so that we can be helpful and we can stay safe. So we're going to keep checking in on the latest news so that we can have the most accurate information possible. Now, there's a lot of information out there, and not all of it's true. So we want to make sure we're finding our news from credited sources, means sources that are telling the truth and that we know that they are they've been written by a team of experts and people who know and have the correct information. And so we are going to use our News ELA site, which you're very familiar with, and maybe Time for Kids as well. But today we're going to look at our News ELA site because that is a site that has people who fact check things, making sure we're only getting correct information. So today our article is with an interview with someone that you may know and that you may have heard of. But before we get to that, I have two words I want to introduce to you today. And it's kind of a new technique I'm trying out, and it's called Synonym Triplets. So I'm going to introduce a word to you. Guess what? You are also going to learn two more words. You're going to learn two other synonyms that go with the word I introduced. So in the end, you're gonna know three new words. That is amazing. Oh wow, wow. All right. So our first word is restriction. Our first word is restriction. Restriction means to block or to limit something. Block or to limit something. And we have two other synonyms, constraint and regulation. Constraint and regulation. So it sounds like this. Restriction, constraint, regulation. Restriction, constraint, regulation. Try it with me. Constriction, excuse me. Well, say that's okay. Say restriction, constraint, regulation. Restriction, constraint, regulation. So my sentence says, the governor stated a restriction that said everyone must stay home. So that restriction is telling us we can't do something. Okay, that's our first word. Our next word is this word inconvenient. Say it with me, inconvenient. And you can see that inconvenient means it's an adjective that describes something that's hard or difficult or makes life not very easy. We have inconvenient, say it with me. We have disruptive, irritating. Let's say it again. So it goes like this. Inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. Inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. Inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. Now these two words, irritating and disruptive, are synonyms. They mean just about the same thing as inconvenient. Let's look at our sentence. It is inconvenient that we can't go to school because I miss my students. Yes, inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. So those are 2 new words, Rocketeers. Now you've learned 6 new words, and we haven't even read our article yet. Let's pop on over to our News ELA site and get started. I'm singing that in my head right now. Inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. Inconvenient, disruptive, irritating. Oh. Restriction, constraint, regulation. All right, Rocketeers, here is our article today. Curry and Fauci chat on Instagram as thousands watch, including Obama. So already, Rocketeers, I'm already having my nonfiction, thinking about what nonfiction readers do when they read an article, thinking about what are they learning, what's the main topic, and what does the author think about this? And looking at my nonfiction features, I can see Instagram. I know some of you have said that you have Instagram, so maybe you can go back and watch this interview when you get done with the article. Okay, so this is by the Washington Post. So that's our source, and it's adapted by News ELA staff. That means they took it and made it accessible, meaning made it on a reading level that we can read together. Okay, and it was published. It's published today. Well, not today because today is Monday, but last Friday. All right, so 3-time National Basketball Association champion Stephan Curry has some free time, don't we all? Basketball games have been canceled, so on March 26th, Curry performed a little citizen journalism. He interviewed Anthony Fauci on Instagram Live. Fauci runs the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The government agency studies and tries to stop the spread of diseases. About 50,000 viewers tuned in. One was former President Barack Obama. So right away, I'm thinking of that main topic. What is this article telling us more about? Like many now working from home, Curry had few technical difficulties with the video chat at first. He and Fauci joked about the basketball hoop in Fauci's office, then Curry slid into interview mode. The pair covered many questions about the new coronavirus. For example, they discussed how the virus is different from the flu. They also talked about when large gatherings will be able to happen again. The coronavirus is a new flu-like illness. It can cause a cough or fever. Most cases recover. For the elderly or those with existing health conditions, contracting the virus can be especially dangerous. So let's pause and think. Turn and tell someone around you, what have you learned so far? Oh, I hear you talking. That's great. I hear you talking about those details. Awesome. Bring it back. People should take social distancing seriously. I know this word seriously to mean that we should do it. And if something's serious, that means it is very, very important that we do. So Fauci talked about why young people need to practice social distancing. They need to stay apart, even if they feel healthy. Curry explained why he wanted to speak with 79-year-old expert. Ooh, that word expert, we know that word from last week. Fauci is one of the people leading the Trump administration's response to the coronavirus outbreak. He regularly appears at White House meetings with press and has been doing additional interviews. Curry wanted their conversation to reach different groups of people and give them important coronavirus information. You see all the different visuals of people at the beach and parks, crazy public gatherings, he explained. He pointed out how people are not taking social distancing seriously. Much of the conversation was about why social distancing and shelter-in-place measures are important. Social distancing is a set of guidelines that limit people's contact with one another. Many people are working from home and schools across the country have been closed. These measures can help slow the spread of the coronavirus. If the number of coronavirus cases rises too quickly, hospitals will not be able to help everyone. Curry asked Fauci about the risk of lifting such measures too early. Ending the rules would allow businesses to reopen. Even if you lessen those restrictions, oh, there's our word, restriction, constraint, regulation. So restriction, what are some of the restrictions that you heard up above? Jot it down, tell a partner, find it and maybe highlight it or point to it. All right. Even if you lessen those restrictions, everybody, until this is over, should practice some degree of physical distancing. Fauci said, no big crowds, wash your hands a lot, and be careful. You can do that and still get back to a somewhat normal life. Okay, thinking about those restrictions, what are they? What have you learned? We are not overreacting. Curry countered. We're not overreacting, right? You're absolutely right, Fauci said. We need to make that point. This is serious business. We are not overreacting. The chat will be available on Curry's Instagram page for viewing. Fauci ended the conversation with a plea to the country. We modified our lives. It's not convenient to lock yourself in. It's not convenient to do the kinds of things. It's not convenient for you to not be playing basketball, Fauci said. So I see that word not convenient. Another word for not convenient is inconvenient. So thinking about that word being introduced. But we're going through a period of time now where we've got to, as a country, pull together. Don't get frightened. Don't get intimidated. Use the energy to be able to confront it and do the kinds of things that'll put an end to it. I wanted to get rid of the misconception that there's extremes. Either the world is going to end or we don't want to do anything. It isn't that. It's somewhere in the middle. All right, Rocketeers, thinking about that main idea, I'm thinking about the author's point of view. What do I think the author thinks about this topic? All right, Rocketeers, now we're going to go over to your assignment today. It looks a little bit different than what you've been used to, but it's going to look like this. News ELA article summary. All right, and I'm going to show you. Everyone has their own slide. I'm going to zoom in here. This is how you zoom in. Go up here, make it a 50%. Okay, maybe a little bit more. All right, so up here we have News ELA article summary. And then I have my name, text. You don't have a period. You can just write your cohort. You can write your cohort right there. Then the directions say use the News ELA article we read today to complete the summary. So headline and source, just like you practiced in class. Title, text here, and what you can do is type in the boxes. You can type here. You can actually I'll delete this. Curry and Fauci chat on Instagram, and you would continue that as well. And then you write your main idea here, type your main idea in here. Then you're going to use your supporting evidence. These are just like your details that you would. And then it asks for quotation marks. So if you're going to quote Stephan Curry saying something, like he says a couple of things in the text, use quotation marks. Or when Fauci talks as well, you can put his details in quotation marks. You can also not use quotation marks if you're just citing a detail from the text. Then we have a summary. Now, this is something that we have practiced a little bit on, but getting used to doing a quick summary of the important events. This is where you can type here as well. So if the article title is about, according to the author, some evidence. What does the article show us? What is it telling us? Information. Infer, which means, again, what are we thinking now that we've read this article? Maybe what is it motivating us to do or to think more about? And then our conclusion. Okay, what are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts after you've read? And then ask you to make a tech connection. So to create a hashtag, which we've seen before on different articles. It's a way of searching. When you search common hashtags, different things come up. So that's more of a fun extra piece for you to have fun with there. All right. As always, if you have questions, please reach out. I know this is a new one for us, but I want us to try and do our best. And yes, I hope you have a great day, and I cannot wait to see your summaries come out. All right, we'll see you later.